Welcome to Bricklayer. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the ideas relating to Vitruvia Concept 5. However, before we get started, I would like to recommend that you become the master of Concept 4. Now, Concept 4 involved understanding English sentences that describe how Lego bricks can be placed on a grid or on a base plate. So what that let us do is we could essentially have one person communicate to another person via text or over the phone and send them a series of sentences that describe how to create an artifact out of Lego bricks by placing them on the grid in a certain way. Now what we'd like to do now is take that idea and instead of communicating to a person, we want to communicate to the computer. So we're going to have to modify our sentence a little bit. Now in the lingo of Concept 4, here's an example of a sentence. It says, put a 4x2 blue brick at location 0, 0. Now we're going to break this sentence into two parts. The first part describes the shape and color of the brick, and we're going to think of that as a function for now. And the second part describes where that brick is to be placed on a grid, and that's going to be the parameter to the function. So what we need to do is figure out a way to convert that first part of the sentence into something that the computer understands. And what it understands is names. So we need to convert this to a name. So what's in a name? Well, Shakespeare said, "That which we call a rose by any other name would smell as sweet." Now that's all fine and good for a play. Unfortunately, when it comes to coding, we have a whole bunch of function names that we're going to need to remember. And these are just some of them. Now, for Bricklayer levels 1 and 2, these are the brick shapes that you get, that you have functions for. So we have 7 different colors and 8 different shapes. And actually, we have this additional color sort of called empty. So we really have 8 different colors and 8 different shapes. So that's 64 different function names that we have to remember. And we don't want to spend a lot of time trying to remember these function names. We have way more interesting things to think about when we're coding. So we need to come up with a name that's easy to remember. But before we do that, we have to at least lay some ground rules for what it means to be a name when you're talking about programming. So what constitutes a name, legally speaking? So when you're talking about coding, a name has no spaces. It begins with the letter of the alphabet and can be followed by other letters, numbers, or the underscore symbol. And in the context of programming or coding, the terms name, variable, or identifier are often used interchangeably. So that's what constitutes a name legally. But what constitutes a good name? So a good name is a name that's meaningful and easy to remember. So going back to this original sentence that we had from Concept 4, this put a 4x2 blue brick at a location. We want to turn that into a function name. We could have picked F1 as a function name if you're being a pure mathematician. That's very short and sweet, but kind of hard to remember, especially if we have to come up with 64 of these names. We could just take the whole sentence, this first part, and replace spaces with underscore symbols and turn it into one big long name. That is easy to remember, but it's a lot of typing if we're going to type names. So we want something that's maybe a little bit shorter. So we could throw out some unnecessary words. For example, at location, so have a shorter name now. We could throw out a couple of more words, and this looks pretty good. So right, this captures the idea of what we're doing, the action. We're putting something, and some characteristics about the thing that we're putting, the shape and the color. Now, for a variety of reasons that I'll talk about in a later video, we actually want to add 2D after the name put. So what we're going to decide, our naming convention, our way of mapping this sentence to a function name is put 2D underscore shape of the brick underscore color of the brick in all capitals. So once we have that idea, this algorithm for converting a sentence fragment into a name, once we understand that, it's pretty easy to convert a whole bunch of other sentences now, right? So put a 2x1 red brick at location. What's the corresponding name for this one? Well, it's going to be put 2D underscore 2x1 underscore red. Let's look at another one. Put a 1x1 yellow brick at location, gets converted to put 2D underscore 1x1 underscore yellow. Put a 2x4 green brick at location, gets converted into put 2D underscore 2x4 underscore green. And so I would like to point out that all of the put functions in level 1 and 2 all begin with the prefix put 2D underscore. So what I'd like to do now is go through a couple of examples of Vitruvia Concept 5. So we're going to go to the Bricklayer web page, to apps, to Vitruvia, to exercises, and then we're going to select Concept 5. And so here, the exercise says, execute the following level 1 function call by putting a brick at the appropriate location. So we're going to execute this function call. And the function call, the name of the function is put 2D underscore 2x1 underscore blue. And the location, the parameter to this function is 2x4. So it's a blue brick, location 2,4. This is way up here. And it's a 2x1. That's pretty much it. I recommend you do as many of these as you have time for. You could maybe test yourself on this. Go to Vitruvia Tests and maybe do a test of 5 of these exercises. That would help. The more is better. Okay, good luck.